Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to today's webinar on report favourites and selections in Sage 50 Payroll. My name is Alice and I'll be delivering today's webinar, and today's session is one of the webinars in our April Spring Clean badge as well. So we're running a series of webinars throughout April, and if you attend at least 3 out of the 5 live webinars, you can earn our free digital badge. So more information on that at the end of today's session. We'll start off with report favourites, so I'll look at pre-update, post-update and historical reports and how to favourite them, plus some recommended reports. We'll then look at report selections, so what is a report selection and how to create one. And I'll then have a little quiz for you, so I've got 3 questions for you to test your report's knowledge. And as usual, we'll finish with some further support and finish answering your questions at the end as well. So the first section then, report favourites, and I do want to start with just a little bit about each type of report. So first of all, pre-update reports. These provide information about the current unupdated pay run, including pay slips and payment summary reports. Post-update reports provide information about already updated payment periods, year-end, legislation and company information. And historical reports are for all updated pay periods in Sage 50 Payroll, and that does include previous tax years as well, without having to change your process date. So let's have a little look at where to find those reports in the programme then. I'll just turn my camera off. We'll go into Payroll. So first of all, pre-update reports. These are found in the Payroll tasks. So Payroll just at the bottom, and you'll see pre-update reports has its own step there, after you've entered the payments and before you update the records. If you're a process map user, it also has its own step in the process map. So let me just show you that. And we can see pre-update reports there, again, after enter payments and before you update the records. Post-update reports, these are found by clicking the reports icon just above your employee list. And if for whatever reason you can't see these icons here in the toolbar, little top tip for you, just go to View in the top left there and click on Toolbar just to toggle that on and off. And you should be able to find that reports icon there. So remember, those reports there are post-update, and that's for any updated pay periods. And last but not least, you can run historical reports either from the Payroll link section, so you'll see printing historical reports just there, or you can also access them from company and historical data. So I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on in the webinar. So it's all well and good knowing where to run the reports, but if you aren't sure which reports to run, I am going to go over some recommendations from us as well, starting with pre-update reports. So remember, you'll run these from your payroll tasks, and there are 4 pre-update reports I would like to show you. These are the payment summary part 1 and 2 reports, pay slips, and the update records check report. So there's 4 that I'm going to show you, and we'll go back into payroll and take a look at where to find them. So these are pre-update reports, remember, so you'll find those just in pre-update reports in the payroll tasks. We can see I don't have any favourites just yet, so we'll take a look for those reports and add them to the favourites. So we've got different sections on the left-hand side here, and those payment summary reports are just found in the summary section. So quite a few in here, but it is in alphabetical order. So we'll scroll down and we can see the payment summary part 1 and part 2. I recommend the landscape option. I just prefer that layout. I think it's nice and clear, but you do also have the option of portrait too if you'd prefer. And to preview this, I'm just going to click this preview icon. And I'm just going to leave this criteria as default. And this is the payment summary part 1 landscape. So this is a detailed breakdown of pay for the current pay period, and it'll go from the gross pay on the left all the way through to net pay on the right. So I've got all of my employees listed with those values going left to right. I've got things like tax, parental payments, pre-tax deductions, post-tax deductions. It's just a really great report to get a good understanding of exactly what's going on with your employees' wages. And like all reports, you do have the options to print or export and save the report in the top left if you do wish to save a copy. So that is the first recommended report. And I do want to add this to my favourites as well. So to do this, I'm going to left click the star just next to the report name. Left click that once. For you, this star will turn gold to say that it's in the favourites. And from then, you'll be able to find it in the favourites section. So for future reference, it's going to be nice and easy to find, and it'll just be in the favourites section. So let's also look for the payment summary part 2. Again, this is in the summary section, just near the bottom. And I'm going to preview the payment summary part 2 landscape. So this is another great breakdown for the employees, but this time it's going to be for the employee and employer national insurance. So we've got NIable earnings, we've got contributions, any rebates and employer pension as well. And again, those same options as we do with all reports to print and export. So I'm going to favourite this one too. And again, to do this, just left click that star. For you, that will turn gold. And it's now in the favourites section. Next is payslips. So there are probably too many choices to go through individually, but this is where you'll find them. So the pre-update reports have a payslip section, and you've got options for dot matrix, email, and laser. Email and laser are definitely more popular options, and I like to use the laser 2 per A4 sheet payslip. So let's preview this. This is the standard laser payslip. And you will get this message if you've got any employees set up for online services as well. I'm just going to click yes to include them and wait for that preview of those payslips. So we can see nice, simple, clear layout, perfect for what I need. 2 per A4 sheet, and that's produced it for all of my employees there. So I want to add this to my favourites too by just left clicking on that star, and I can see that in the favourites now as well. Now you do have more options for laser, so you can have an address on there if you'd like to, payslip comments, and at the bottom you do also have options for laser security payslips. So these are designed for if you still use like the self-seal stationery for your payslips at the company. You've got those options there as well, just at the bottom, which you can also add to your favourites. So one last pre-update report which I want to recommend, which is the Update Records Check Report. This again is in the summary section, and it's just going to be right at the bottom. So we'll scroll down and preview this one. And this is going to be a summary of the main elements of the employee's pay for the current period. It includes grand totals as well for gross pay, taxable gross, tax and NI contributions for the employee, and net pay as well. And if we favourite this one, and then look in the favourites, I've got those 4 reports there. So next time I do my pre-update reports, I can just go to my favourites section to save me looking through all of the sections and find them there. So just a reminder then of those 4 reports and where to find them. So pre-update reports will be for the payroll tasks or on the process map if you're a process map user. And moving on to post-update reports. So these are ones that you can run from the reports icon in the toolbar above your employee list. And these reports are to give information on already updated payment periods, including company information, legislation and more as well. There are 3 main reports that I would recommend in the post-update section, and these are the payment summary history reports, part 1 and 2 by date. I'd recommend that you will run the P32 report at each month end. So let's take a look at where they are in the programme. We'll pop back to payroll. And this time for post-update reports, remember that's going to be this reports icon above the employee list. And in here, you can see I've already favorited those 3 recommended reports. So I've got the payment summary histories, part 1 and 2, and the P32 as well. So part 1 and 2 here very similar to those pre-update reports, but these are generally used to reconcile against the payment summary reports that we ran at that pre-update stage. So they are in my favourite section, but if you wanted to find those, they're going to be in the employee section. And there's a lot more to choose from in post-update reports, but it's still in alphabetical order. So we'll scroll down to P, and we can see those payment summary histories there now as well. Now this time, instead of portrait or landscape, you've got the options of by date or by employee. And it really is preference for this. Both options provide great summaries to help reconcile your reports. I prefer by date. I just feel it's most similar to the pre-update version. So I'll hover over this preview and we can see it still goes from that gross pay on the left all the way across to that net pay on the right. So that's another one I'd recommend. And same again with part 2, very similar to that pre-update report, but this time of course showing that detailed breakdown of the employee and employer national insurance. And that is a little top tip as well. If you do want to look what the layout of a report is, just hover over the preview button and you'll see an example data version just to get a kind of understanding of what it looks like. That third recommendation for post-update reports is the P32 report. So you would typically run this at month end to check the payments due to HMRC. And this report is found in the period end section. In here, it's called Form P32 Employer Payment Record. And it's also the one which file name is just called P32. So I'm going to preview this one. And you will get criteria options come up for this as well, where you can specify which tax month you'd like to run the report for. So I've already updated month 1 in my payroll, and I'm going to run it for tax month 1. So for me, I'll have to say it's 1 and 1. If you were running it for tax month 2, you would specify 2 and 2, etc. So just bear that in mind. But we're running it for tax month 1 in this case. And here is the P32. So this provides a breakdown of your PAYE and national insurance liabilities for the tax month. It also shows any employment allowance claimed, statutory payments recovered, and apprenticeship levy amount due as well, to help you work out how much you need to pay to HMRC. So that is the P32. And another place that you can run this report actually is from the payroll link section. So if we just go back there, we can see a link straight to the P32 report, which will bring up the same criteria. So I'll change that to month 1 and 1. And that's just a bit of a quicker way to run that there. So it saves you going to the reports and looking for it in there. And that's a P32. So just a reminder, they were post-update reports and they're found in this icon just above the employee list. So lastly, I would like to touch on historical reports in this section. So found in the payroll link section, these reports run for any updated payment period, even in previous tax years, and it doesn't require you to change your process date either, so even more convenient. In these reports, you've got lots of different sections to choose from. So as you can see on the screenshot on the right-hand side, you can get information on attachments, deductions, nominal link, probably most popular option there is pay slips and statutory payments, etc. So lots of choice. So let's go take a look at those now. So remember, historical reports, there's a few options of how to get to them. You can either go to company and historical data, or I'm actually going to go in the payroll link section to printing historical reports. It prompts you to enter a date range. So if you wanted, for example, the last 3 years of pay slips for employees, you'd pop in the last 3 years. I'm actually going to put in last tax year, so 6th of April 2023 to 5th of April 2024. And if you have any departments set up or cost centres, you do have the option of choosing them in the criteria as well. And I'll click OK, and I can see same layout as the other reports. So I've got those different sections on the left and the reports available on that main part of the screen there. Lots of choice in here, And as I mentioned, probably the most common historical report are the payslips. So you've got the same options in here as we did in the pre-update reports. So I've got dot matrix layouts, email, and laser. So I could produce the exact same payslip layout in here for any periods that I've updated in payroll. So I've got that laser 2 per A4 sheet, which of course I used just before. So this is a great feature because once you've updated your payment period, you can't get back into pre-update reports. So rest assured, if you did need any previous payslips, you'd be able to come into historical reports and produce them there. And we can see it's exactly the same layout. And again, if you do want to favourite any reports in here, just left click that star and that would move it to the favourites section for your historical reports. There's loads more reports in here, but I'm sure you understand we don't have time to preview every single one. There is just too many reports in Sage 50 Payroll to do that. But that being said, I do want to make you aware of some great resources that we've got when it comes to finding the reports that you need, which is the Report Finder tool and the Advanced Report Library as well. So you can find both of these on the Help Centre by searching their names, or I've linked them on the slides here too. But the Report Finder tool, this allows you to type in the name of a report for you to find where it is in the programme, or you can search for keywords as well. So the tool will show a list of reports available matching those keywords. So if I typed in attachments, for example, and I wanted a report to show attachments, the Report Finder tool would show the results of any reports that have attachment information. It'll also show you where to find those reports and a description of them too. So that's a really handy resource. And there's also the Advanced Report Library, which is loads more free reports available for Sage 50 Payroll. So you can click on the link and on there you've got extra reports and instructions of how to download them as well. And they're available for both pre-update and post-update. So lots of choice on there. So if in the programme at the moment, the standard reports, maybe there's a few missing, you don't have the one that you need, definitely check out that Advanced Report Library. It might be on there and it's just a case of downloading it. But that brings us to the end of report favourites and onto report selections, which are available for both pre-update and post-update reports. So a report selection allows you to run multiple reports at once, and it allows you to fully customise the selection as well. So if you've got a set amount of, say, 5 reports that you run every period, to save you from manually running one at a time, you could set up a report selection with those 5 reports to produce them all in one batch. So it really is a massive time saver. So let's go back to payroll and take a look at how they work. So make sure all your employees are highlighted. I've already checked my process date as well, and I'm actually going to go to pre-update reports in this example, but remember you can set it up in the same way in post-update reports as well. Got the favourites there from before, and I'm just going to go to the report selection section. And as we can see, I do already have one in here. So this includes some reports that I like to run from time to time. And you can preview this in the same way that you would with a normal report. So either double click it or click on this preview icon. And we'll let that load up. I'm going to leave the criteria as default. And this is my existing report selection. So once it's open there, we can see the first report in the selection is the analysis of payroll totals. But you'll notice at the top we've got different tabs. So the analysis of payroll totals has its own tab. So does the next report. So does the next one. So you see they're nice and separate up there. But in the time it's taken me to run one report selection, I've actually run 5 reports. And from here you do have the normal export options in the top left, so you still can print and you can still export. But with there being multiple reports, there's a few extra options. So you can either print the current report that you're looking at, you could print them all as a single job, or you could print them all as individual jobs. And same with export as well. You can either export and save the current report that you're looking at, or export all of them as a single document. So that's how to view an already existing report selection, but I would like to show you now how to create a new one and we'll add the reports that I recommended earlier into their own report selection. So to create one, first of all, just make sure that you're in the report selection section. Then in the top left, you're going to go and click on New. And this is the window where you're going to create the selection. So first of all, just pop in a name. I'm just going to call mine General Monthly Reports. And you've got the option to enter a description as well. So I'm going to call it Pre-Update Reports for Monthly Employees. And once you're happy with the name and description, you're then going to be able to add the report to the selection in the bottom. So you'll see we've got the same sections here on the left as we do in the pre-update reports. So I've got pay slips, checks, summary, etc. So let's go find those payment summaries first of all and add them to my selection. So what you're going to do is just select the report one at a time and use this add button to move that across into your report selection. So that was part 1. Let's select payment summary part 2 and add that across. And last one in the summary section was the update records check report. So again, I'll select this and move it across. And one last one was the laser pay slip. So I'm going to select laser, select that standard layout and click add. Now notice, even though the laser pay slip there was the last report that I added, it's actually showing as the first report in the report selection. And that's because no matter what order that you add them in, the report selection is always going to be in alphabetical order. And if you did add one by mistake, for example, so let's just add that one, you can also select the reports and remove them from the selection as well. So totally customizable there. And once you're happy with the reports in the selection, just click Save and Close. And we'll give it a moment to refresh, and I can now see that report selection ready to be used. So I can see the description there as well, and I'm going to go ahead and preview this. And again, I'll leave the criteria as default when that pops up. And here it is, so nice and quick. I've only had to run that one report selection, and I've actually got all 4 of these reports, each one in a different tab. So it's such a great way of saving time if you've got those reports that you consistently run, because instead of manually running 5 or 10 reports one by one, we can just do this all in one batch. And just a reminder again of those export options. So you've got 3 options to print and 2 to export as well. I am also going to favourite this. So I'll left click on that star, and it's now going to be in my favourite section, ready for when I next do my pre-update reports. So remember, you can create report selections for both pre and post-update reports in exactly the same way, just in different areas of the programme. And just a recap of how we did that report selection. So in this example, we went to pre-update reports, and from the report selection section, we clicked New in the top left. We gave our selection a name and a description, and then we could add the reports one at a time using that add button. And then once you've added all the reports that you'd like in the selection, click Save and Close, and that report selection is ready to be used. There is a little bit more information as well on report selections, just on that article at the bottom of the slide, so be sure to check that out if you want to know more. But that brings us to the end of report selections, and onto a little quiz that I've put together just to test your reports knowledge. So I've got 3 questions for you all. Let me just launch that first one, which is, where do you find historical reports? So I'll leave the moment for about a minute. If you just select your answer, this one may be multiple choice as a little hint. So where do you find historical reports? Is it in company and historical data? Is it in payroll pre-update reports? Or is it in payroll link section? So company historical data seems to be the most popular at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. And I'll share the results with you afterwards as well. So this is question 1. Where do you find historical reports? Great, and I'll close this now and share those results. There we go. So 85% have said in company and historical data, 14% have said in payroll pre-update reports, and 54% have said in the payroll links section. So this was multiple choice, and answers 1 and 3 are correct. So you can find historical reports in company and historical data and in the payroll links section. Of course, payroll pre-update reports are for those pre-update reports prior to updating your records for the current period. So that was question 1, and we'll launch question number 2 now, which is, can you choose the order of reports in a report selection? So can you choose the order of reports in a report selection? Is it yes, you can add them in the order that you'd like? Or is it no, they'll always be in alphabetical order? So yes or no, can you choose the order of reports in a report selection? It's an overwhelmingly popular choice here. So we'll see if it's the correct one soon. So yes or no, can you choose the order of reports in a report selection? Great, and I'll close that now and share those results. So 80% if you got that correct, no, they will always be in alphabetical order. So remember, I added the laser pay slips as the last option in the report selection, but they went at the top of the list because it's always going to be alphabetical. And last question for the quiz is not really a question, but choose the correct description of pre-update reports. So choose the correct description of pre-update reports. Are they reports for the current payment period? Or are they reports for an already updated payment period? I think I need to make these questions harder. Perfect. So choose the correct description of pre-update reports. Are they reports for the current payment period or reports for an already updated payment period? A couple more seconds and I'll close that one as well. Fabulous, and I'll share those results. So choose the correct description of pre-update reports, and 97% of you were correct. Reports for the current payment period is the correct description there. So reports for an already updated payment period, they would be either post-update or historical. So well done to everyone who got that right. And for the other questions as well, well done if you got them all. And thank you for the participation there. And that does bring us to the end of the main webinar content. But before we do wrap things up, I do want to just go through some further support with you as well and talk a little bit more about that payroll spring clean badge, which I mentioned, which this webinar is a part of. So we're running a series of webinars in April, covering the topics on the screen here. And if you attend at least 3 out of 5 of the topics at live webinars, you'll earn a free digital badge. So if you're interested in learning more, we have already done Spring Clean Your Payroll and Minimum Wage Check, but we do still have dates available next week for online pay slips, report favourites and selections, of course, and HMRC Secure Mailbox as well. So if you do want to know what they're all about, read a little bit more about what we're going to cover, click register now to read more about the webinars, or go to sage.co.uk/webinars, and hopefully we'll see you on another one very soon. We've also got the Sage Help Centre as well, so all of the articles and further support that I've linked on the slides today have been from the Help Centre. It's a really great resource. You can search the knowledge base, you can access support guides, demonstration videos, recordings of our webinars, and should you need to get in touch for any reason, you can also contact the experts through the Help Centre as well. We've also got Sage University, so here you can sign up for a free account and access e-learning, bite-sized learning, as well as earning product certification too. So it's a great way to get started on a new a new Sage product that you've got, or expand your knowledge. And there's also other Sage products that you can learn about too, so definitely check that out. But that has brought us to the end of the content for the Report Favourites and Selections webinar. On behalf of me and Duncan, we do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you on another webinar very soon. So we'll see you next time. Bye.